Mom, there's a guy pointing a gun at me. My daughter Emily's voice was chillingly calm over the phone. Don't worry, I'll handle it. But you should get home now before this clown makes the headlines. I bolted from the conference room, leaving my stunned colleagues behind. We'd only been in this upscale neighborhood for 2 weeks, and already the homeowners association was greeting my daughter with a firearm. They'd chosen the wrong house and the wrong woman. I'm Laura Bennett, a 45-year-old consumer rights attorney in Chicago. After a smooth divorce, I'd bought my dream home in Crestview Meadows, lured by promises of tranquility, manicured lawns, and friendly neighbors. The brochure painted a utopia, but it should have warned of a petty dictatorship where your property isn't yours and armed wannabes threaten your family. The trouble started the day I moved in. A jittery woman in her 50s, Margaret Hayes, the HOA secretary, handed me a thick rulebook. Review it soon to avoid incidents, she said, her tone hinting at medieval punishment for infractions. The binder was a legal nightmare. No street parking from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m., no gatherings of more than 8 without HOA approval, mandatory meeting attendance, and a clause allowing the board to inspect properties with 24-hour notice, a blatant violation of property rights. I flagged these for the next HOA meeting, but my focus was settling in. My daughter Emily, 32, arrived for a 2-week visit. Brilliant and composed, she's an FBI tactical commander with a decade handling high-stakes operations, though she humbly calls herself a government employee. We were sipping coffee on the porch when our neighbor, Clara Evans, a sharp-tongued retiree, warned us about Victor Ramsey, the HOA president, a disgraced ex-cop running Crestview like his personal empire, and his enforcer, Carl Weber, a self-styled security chief with a fake badge. That evening, I parked my car slightly over the line. By morning, a $50 fine was slapped on my windshield, signed by C. Weber, Security Enforcement. Emily noticed it wasn't an official HOA document. Furious, I emailed the board, citing state laws on reasonable covenant enforcement. Within 30 minutes, Victor called, his voice dripping with false courtesy. Ms. Bennett, you don't seem to grasp how things work here. Pay the fine and adjust your attitude, or Crestview might not suit you. His threat was clear: comply or face consequences. He demanded my presence at the next mandatory HOA meeting. That night, we heard a noise outside. Emily, ever vigilant, spotted Carl spray painting a red X on our lawn. Official HOA warning, he sneered, tapping his holster before slinking off. Emily's calm was unnerving. He just threatened us over a parking ticket, she mused, snapping photos. Mom, this just got interesting. At the HOA meeting, Victor and Carl ran the room like tyrants, shutting down questions about rising costs. When I challenged the illegal inspection clause, Victor dismissed me, suggesting I should have researched before buying. Margaret slipped me a note. Careful. Cameras and microphones everywhere. Outside, Carl shoved past me, muttering, asked the Thompsons why they sold so fast. Back home, Emily was strategizing with Clara and Daniel Lopez, a resident who'd questioned the HOA's finances. Daniel's security footage showed Victor and Carl taking cash from shady contractors and targeting specific homes. Clara, a former journalist, revealed 26 families had been harassed into selling at low prices to firms linked to Victor's brother-in-law. The motive? A commercial rezoning plan that would skyrocket property values. My house was a key piece in their scheme. I filed a complaint with the city. Hours later, our water was cut off. Carl's smirking, emergency maintenance. Emily installed hidden cameras, and we noticed Carl's car lurking outside, his flashlight sweeping our windows. Margaret texted Emily, offering to meet at a coffee shop. There, she handed over a USB drive. There's $500,000 missing from HOA funds, funneled to Victor's shell companies, she whispered. They drove my mother out the same way. Emily's eyes gleamed. We've got an insider. The next day, Emily learned from her FBI colleague, Agent Mark Thompson, that Victor was forced out of the police for excessive force, and Carl's concealed carry permit was revoked years ago. An FBI financial crimes probe was already eyeing Crestview. Then Daniel texted, emergency. Carl's at my door with a gun. Emily raced over, ordering me to call the police. I reported an armed standoff, but the dispatcher warned of a 15-minute delay. Unable to wait, I drove to Daniel's. Carl was on Daniel's porch, gun in hand, demanding he remove his legal security cameras. Emily stood between them, coolly correcting Carl's misquoted HOA rules. Infuriated, he waved his gun. You don't run things here, he shouted, firing a shot into the air. In a blur, Emily disarmed him, pinning him to the ground with surgical precision. Daniel, secure the weapon, she directed. Mom, tell the police we've detained an armed suspect. Officers arrived, and Emily's FBI credentials shifted their demeanor. Carl was arrested for illegal firearm use. Victor's attempt to intervene crumbled under the officer's authority. Victor retaliated with 17 violation notices and vandalized our garden. But the FBI was closing in, bolstered by Margaret's records. I rallied 23 residents at a neutral venue, forming the Fair Homeowners Alliance to demand new elections. At an emergency HOA meeting, Victor threatened to expel me, but when Margaret exposed his financial crimes, the room turned. Residents voted to oust the board, and Victor stormed out, vowing revenge. That night, our front door lock was broken. Victor's voice echoed from the dark, no police this time. He sat in my armchair, gun on his knee, demanding we sign a retraction and sell our home for $50,000 above purchase price. Emily, unarmed, kept him talking, secretly recording. She baited him into confessing his scheme. 34 properties bought cheap for a $7 million profit post-rezoning. When he aimed at me, Emily disarmed him in a flash, pinning him as Agent Thompson's team stormed in. You're under arrest for breaking and entering, extortion, and fraud, she declared. Victor's boasts unraveled his entire network. A week later, neighbors celebrated at our barbecue. Clara, Margaret, and Daniel led a transparent new HOA. Emily transferred to Chicago's FBI office, driven by the case's impact. National media spotlighted HOA abuse, spurring legislative reform. At Victor's sentencing, he got 15 years, Carl 8, with full restitution ordered. In court, Emily's testimony in her FBI uniform was unshakable. Our lawn, once marked by Carl's red X, now bore a sign. Protected by FBI. Think twice. It was a cheeky reminder of our FIDA mother and daughter, backed by a fearless community, toppling a tyrant who underestimated us all.